Hello to all my good friends of the North, and those of you that live beyond the wall. Let's continue a little bit of this discussion, this OGL thing. I have a question for you. This is an important question, but I understand you may not have the most accurate answer. But if you can, please chime in the comments. The question that I have, let's get right to it, is with the recent news of Paizo, and the upcoming release of Orc, I believe it is. It's essentially their version of OGL, right? Their licensing type of thing. Do you know how that works? And here's what I mean. Let me give you some context, which also, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you may want to look on Paizo.com and look at their most recent statement regarding this whole OGL thing to give you some context of what I'm talking about. In short, Paizo announced that they're going to be creating a new license. Again, ORC, I think it's called. Open Roleplay Creative License or something like that, right? So ORC, cool abbreviation. And they're allowing other companies to use this ORC license to create their own worlds, their own things, just like OGL used to be. But the cool part about it is Paizo is looking to attach that license, that source, that ORC source, to like a law firm, so that it's not attached to any Paizo necessarily. It's not attached to any gaming company, so that if later on that gaming company gets bought out, Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, Activision Blizzard, you see where I'm going. If that company gets bought out, you have this conflict of interest, right? They're not attaching the license to that same company. It's a third-party source, a law firm, that purely has just the legality behind it, and that's the only thing they're holding on to, and therefore it allows a certain sense of immunity. So the long ramble of this is, how exactly is that working? If I'm interested in using that, what I mean is, I don't have a breadth of experience with the Pathfinder 2.0. I think my experience with it is grabbing it off the gaming shelf at my local, off the shelf at my local gaming store, flipping through it for 20 seconds, realizing, holy shit, this thing is like 600 pages long, and putting it back. And not dismissing it because I didn't like it, obviously. I only did 20 seconds of browsing through it. How can I make that determination? But simply because in my head I was like, well, I'm already running 5th edition. I have enough books. Let's store this on the shelf. I don't need another world or another game system right now. Interesting how that's come full circle. And I'm taking a very hard look at Pathfinder 2.0. So the question is, can I take that Pathfinder 2.0 rule set? Again, knowing really nothing about it, but I like their action economy. I like the way they handle character creation. I like the crunch, the mechanics. Can I continue creating my Silberot world, my lore, the narrative parts, and saying when you walk into this jungle, creatures attack, and the way the creatures function is according to Pathfinder 2.0's rules, or whatever rule set I want to take, maybe Pathfinder 1.0. Can I use that and know and move forward with confidence that whenever they finalize the legalities and actually create and finish their new license, that the Pathfinder 2.0 mechanics and rules is covered under that license? Therefore, as long as I put these little copyright logos and attributions where my Silberot world is also using the ORC licensing, therefore you can go forth and extrapolate and expand on Silberot as you see fit, and it's all under the umbrella of this sort of Creative Commons license. Or was Pathfinder indicating that they're going to be creating a new rule set for maybe a Pathfinder 3.0, which I doubt, because it feels like Pathfinder 2.0 still is getting its legs and traction. Do I need to wait for that license to be done to figure out which of their rule sets fall under that licensing? Or is there even a difference between, and I'm genuinely asking because I don't know, and maybe you do. Maybe you have enough, interest in really diving into the details of this and you know. Or perhaps even better, maybe you, a loved one, sibling, a friend is a lawyer, and they might have a little more of the legal jargon attached behind it to give a little more credibility to whatever you say in the comments. So please, if you would, and you happen to know the answer to that, how does that licensing thing work? Do I wait for Paizo to create something new that falls under that umbrella, or are they basically indicating that everything Paizo does moving forward and has done? Now, I understand there are works of Paizo that are under the initial OGL, which it sounds like they're not going to be moving forward with. So I'm not talking about using that. What I'm talking about is, and it was mentioned in their Paizo statement, if you really digest that, where they had said that in the beginning, they felt like they needed to hold true to the words that were mentioned by Wizards and holding true to the tropes of Dungeons and Dragons. But as they started to create more products, perhaps even like Pathfinder 2.0, they were relying a little more on the words and the interpretations of their own writers, and they were pulling away more and more from WotC speak, so to speak. So should I be comfortable with saying Silberrod is now going to be working under the Pathfinder 2.0 rules? Should I wait for that licensing to come to fall into place and see what other company attaches their rules under that, and so on? Okay, a few other questions that I wouldn't mind you answering. It sounds like we got some good traction on the previous video about this stuff, right? I think it's always good to have civil conversation, debates, conversation, communication, right? Because it kind of lights the fire and it really allows people to share what they're thinking, which might really benefit someone else. That's why I make these videos. Moving forward, what are you thinking of doing? Are you trying to create your own? I doubt licensing, because it sounds like the way Paizo's doing it, they're paying for the legal fees on that, and that can be quite costly for us normal folks sitting in an office writing on, one computer to create their own entire OGL version, right? But are you going to be going all in, as some of you have mentioned in the previous video's comments, of making your own system, your own world for your own game? Are you going to use someone else's system? Is there some other commercially free or some other almost, sort of free license out there, or a license that you can simply pay for, but yet you're going to retain the rights to the IP and the ideas that you're creating? Are you going to see what MCDM does, which they've already made a statement on that? Are you going to go the path of Project Black Flag, I think it's called, from Kobold Press? Are you going to lean that way? Are you interested in what Critical Role is going to say about this whole thing? Where do they fall into it as the juggernaut, right? Do you feel like they're in bed with WotC? Are they contractually obligated one way or another to D&D Beyond, to Wizards of the Coast? Or is it something that they're financially enough of a draw that they might believe their financial success is built on them and the stories that Matt Mercer builds and the voice actors at the table, not strictly D&D, in which case are they going to go their own way? What do you think? Where do you think that's going to fall out? Or are they going to stay lockstep with what WotC's doing? Maybe not directly saying it, but essentially supporting what WotC's doing moving forward. And are we going to see more official D&D books, kind of like the Netherdeep, you know what I mean? The Wildmount one or whatever it is, right? Versus the Tal'Dorei campaign setting. Where do you think all this is going to shake out? And where are you kind of leaning towards? What videos are you watching? What forums and posts are you reading? And what are your feelers on it? Now, if you're just a simple, I just want to sit at the table and play a game, then that's fine. But also on that note, has your group decided to maybe jump ship and play Cyberpunk or play World of Darkness? Play something else? Are you just going to sit back and start playing board games? Are you going to go back to World of Warcraft now and stop tabletop role-playing altogether? Are you now leaving VTT and Roll20 and going strictly in person? Are you leaving the table and going strictly online only? Are you just going to pull away and you're frustrated and take a break from it all? But certainly from the creator point of view, those of you that have created products for DM's Guild, Drive-Thru RPG, or you were just about to hit file, export to PDF, and put the final, dot the I's and cross the T's and finish off the final bit of editing to publish this D&D thing. Are you now, like Mr. Taras did on his video, are you just deleting those folders from your file? Are you FD&D entirely? Where are you at with this stuff? I'm just curious to see and what your plans are moving forward. So if you can, please help me digest what this Paizo thing means, because I'm interested, but I want to make sure I'm barking up the right tree, because I'm in the thick of it, right? I'm typing on InDesign today, and I want to know what mechanics I'm going to reference, what I should pull from, or if I need to sort of slow down a little bit with my own development until things shake out. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.